Hi, welcome to Veritas Podcast. Today, I want to describe classical Christian education through a well-known quote by C.S. Lewis. He said famously, "If you aim at heaven, the earth will be thrown in for free. But if you aim at earth, you will get neither heaven nor earth." That quote summarizes C.S. Lewis' entire philosophy. All of his works can be summarized in that one quote. So if you aim at heaven, God will throw in the earth for free. It's kind of like the seek ye first the kingdom of God and God will add all these things unto you. It's practically the same. But then he adds, if you aim at earth, if your focus, if your purpose of your life is earthly things and not eternal things, not heavenly things, then you will get neither, meaning you're not going to enjoy heavenly things, nor are you going to actually enjoy the earthly things. Now that's a pretty radical statement. Actually, he has another statement that's even more radical. He says, if you aim at earth, you will find out later that it's actually part of hell. So that's pretty much right out of the Bible. That's what Jesus taught, right? And that quote can explain the core of what classical Christian education is all about. We're really trying to experience God's heaven on earth. We're trying to experience God, His truth, goodness, and beauty through earthly things. That beautifully summarizes the whole nature of education. I mean, we keep saying classical Christian education, but to distinguish it from any other understanding of versions of understanding of biblical education, I believe that is the correct understanding of God's design for education. Now, let me unpack that a little bit. If you aim at heaven, right, you'll get the earth thrown in. That means in all the earthly things that we pursue, including studies, because study is definitely earthly things. We're learning about science and literature and art and music and all these wonderful things that people learn, usually because they like it, they pursue because of their interest, or to prepare for a career, or just general knowledge, increase of knowledge, right? And there's an enjoyment part of that, right? Why do we study? Why do we make our kids study? So that they enjoy life better and that they would achieve something that's meaningful and useful and so forth, right? But in all of this, if we're not ultimately aiming at heaven, which means if we're not doing this for the sake of God or for the sake of enjoying God, if we're not looking for God, like in all of these things, God's truth, goodness, and beauty, and if we're not trying to enjoy heaven, so to speak, right, then it's going to go bad. That sounds kind of too harsh, right? Too difficult almost. Like, wow, then I have to aim for it. Heaven every single time I study? What if I don't? That sounds like a too strict of a rule. The other side of half of this quote is, if you aim at earth, you will get neither. C.S. Lewis wrote another great piece of work called The Great Divorce. And that's a kind of a parable, a story about a bunch of people who are in hell. Actually, it's on earth, but since they're living as part of hell, they're aiming at earth as part of hell. So they're given a chance to get on a bus that goes to heaven. All these people are asked to go to heaven, and most people don't want to go to heaven. And that's kind of understandable. People think the heaven is just hocus pocus. But some people manage to get in the bus and they go to heaven on this bus. And then when they get out of this bus, they're in heaven. Guess what? The remainder of most of the story in the Great Divorce is that these people, they don't like heaven. They're uncomfortable. And basically everybody ends up going back to earth, which is part of hell, because they're aiming at earth, except one person at the end. He, with utmost difficulty, gives up aiming at earth and thus finds for the first time true joy in heaven, and also everything he enjoyed on earth becomes part of heaven. It's an amazing parable, but that is what Christ wants us to get. That's the reality of life. That is God's plan of redemption. Okay, and education is a means to gain that joy of heaven on this earth. Jesus prayed that thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven, right? Why would he make us pray that? Why would that be a best example of how to pray if he doesn't want the kingdom to come, not kingdom to go, but kingdom to come here on earth as it is in heaven? So you got to really think about what Jesus wants us. And education is exactly how we train our students, our children, to enjoy heavenly things in the midst and through these earthly activities. It is a spiritual activity, right? Studying every little subject, it's a spiritual activity. It involves training our hearts and our feelings and our minds to enjoy God behind all these things. And so once these students are trained to enjoy heavenly things through earthly things, think about what kind of adults they will become, what kind of things that they want to do, what kind of things that they want to enjoy, the kind of communities and societies that they will develop. Basically, God will achieve his purpose through these students who are trained to enjoy heavenly things on this earth.